Hey there, it's Kim, your dream home advisor. And if you've landed on this page, you're probably in the process of designing and building a custom home. And this episode is a must watch for you. It's going to be full of strategies to help people like you who are going through this process, and you just need to understand what to expect and how to get through it. So, I'm going to share some of my best strategies with you. Hang out to find the 7 key steps in the process, and here's the good news, they're always the same. So if you can get a handle on the 7 steps, it's really going to help. And I'm also going to give you some common symptoms that you might be experiencing so that you can understand exactly where you are in the process and why that matters. And I'm going to share details about the 7 stages to help you get more familiar with the process so you understand fully what to expect in this journey and how to deal with some of the most common things that come up. And if all you take away from this video is that, it's going to be worth it. But I do try to over deliver. So I have several really amazing free offers for you. Stay to the end and I'll give you information and access links for those. So let's jump right into this. Every time I talk to a new client who wants to build their dream home, I actually think about the pregnancy Bible. And I know that sounds a little crazy. It's called What to Expect When You're Expecting, and I bet if you have kids, you had this book at some point in time. And I know these topics seem completely unrelated, but let me explain. The custom home building process is a lot like growing and birthing a baby. You've made your decision to build your custom home or to do a major renovation. So, in other words, you're already pregnant, there's no going back. And you just need to understand the full scoop about what's going to happen on the way and how to get through it. And here's another similarity. Just like pregnancy, things happen in a very specific order. So, for instance, you don't have the labor pains before the morning sickness. Step 1 leads to step 2, and so on and so on. Building your custom home can be quite the saga. It's filled with highs and lows and what I call the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm in a unique position to help homeowners through this journey. I'll tell you why. I have a really unusual combination of experience. For one thing, I've been a developer. I've been the one that's purchased the large parcels of unentitled land and built the dream home subdivisions. I've been a design build professional. So I've worked with athletes and billionaires and individual homeowners, successful entrepreneurs, and I've helped them build their dream homes. And just like you, I'm also a homeowner. And right now, I'm working on our 16th dream home with my husband, and we've managed to stay married. I know that sounds crazy, but we have. So that makes me kind of uniquely qualified. And I'm just going to run through a little bit of what we've done. I'll take 30 seconds for this, but I just want to give you an idea. This is a award-winning luxury home subdivision that we did. This is a luxury golf course community that we did. For the professional athletes, this is a rendering of his home. I don't have the final pictures. It was during COVID, so I don't have them. Dream home on Malibu Beach. Another dream home in Newport Coast, another one in Palm Springs. The list goes on and on, but I've been, up to my eyeballs in this. So I have honed my experience at this point, and I have the ability to guide you through this from start to finish. So in these videos, I just try to share what's worked for me consistently to help you avoid the common pitfalls and control the building process and actually enjoy the transformation from dream board to your completed dream home. So let's take this journey together. Let's leverage my decades of experience to make your home building journey as seamless and as rewarding as it can possibly be. And here's the cold, hard truth. Most clients start with the same approach. They've got their Pinterest boards, they've been, touring model homes, and they're operating on a premise that as soon as they get their pros, they are off to the races and it's going to be seamless from there. No education, no coaching needed. And at the beginning of your project, this ungrounded excitement is pretty typical. but it often leads to a sense that you're busy, but you're not getting anywhere. And I know that feeling. I've been there so many times. And in this video, I'm going to show you how the process I follow, the exact process I follow to help wrangle all that scatter into a focused and executable plan. And that plan is going to take you from bucket list to built. So, for those of you who are more analytical, you can think about the entire home building process like a continuation of S curves. It might look something like this. And hopefully, if your program or if your project is going well, your S curves are going to be trending up. But it could be going this way. You're in those S curves and you're trending down. And sometimes when you're trending down, it even leads to what I call the dream home death spiral. And that looks something like this. You run into these roadblocks. Roadblocks leads to you to a sense of overwhelm because you're not exactly sure how to solve them. That leads to procrastination, then learned helplessness and a sense of incompetence, and ultimately defeat. And I don't know about you, but this is not where I want to be. So let's look at the first S, and I'll just give you kind of the overall concept of what's happening here. So you're going to start your project kind of on an upward trend, and you're going to reach the top, and then it's going to swing down, and you're going to reach a low point that's pretty predictable. I'll tell you about it. And then you're going to start to rise from the ashes and figure it out. Either that or you're just going to bail. So what we show you how to do, and what I want you to understand, is that this first part is actually the bucket list phase. And then as you swing down, you're going to reach the moment of truth, and then you're going to swing up to your dream build state of flow, hopefully, if you get the right processes and the right coaching. So let's do a little self-assessment at this point. Think about this curve. Where are you on that curve? Are you on the rise? Or have you hit the bottom and now you're just trying to figure out how you're going to get through it? Are you somewhere near the bottom and you're starting to work your way up through it? Let's look at each part of the S, and I'll share some insights that have helped me understand where I am or where my clients are on any given project. So here are some signs. Pay attention. Here are some signs that you might be in the bucket list phase. You've got a list of things that you want. And you and your spouse, you may or may not be in agreement on that list. You might be butting head over a few things on the list, but you both know that you're 100% committed to doing this. That's not a question. You're collecting images, you're building your inspiration file, you're touring open houses and builder homes to get ideas, or maybe you're watching your favorite shows on HGTV. But even though you're completely committed, you're feeling unsettled. And that's because nothing in this phase is grounded in reality yet. You're kind of hanging out in the fluffy clouds of possibility and not making any significant progress towards your goal. But hey, it's a fun place to hang out. I'll give you that. It feels good. And, occasionally you may feel like you're getting somewhere. But something tells you that you're really ultimately just spinning your wheels. So if this is where you are, you're probably in the bucket list phase. And without a process to wrangle all this scattered activity together into a focused plan, what you're doing at this point is just busy work. And you're going to stay stalled at this process. If this is you and you just cannot seem to progress past this phase, you could actually benefit from our Dream Home Accelerator program. Now, this is a program that's already been released, and it's designed to compress this journey into a few focused hours of work on your part. And it's all centered around visualization. And I take you in this program through a proven process that I've used over and over again on our development projects, on my dream home projects, and with clients to get absolute clarity and agreement about what you want. So in other words, a shared vision. And I help you refine your story through a really fun branding process. And I know that sounds strange because companies and products and people are brands, but my home, really, Kim? Absolutely. And your brand will become the lighthouse. It's guiding you to safe harbor in the most intense of storms. So to wrap it up, in that program, I take you through a pre-programming phase. And that translates your vision and your brand into the instruction document for your professionals. You can consider it like a creative brief that your pros are going to use to help guide you through their own programming process. It makes them much more effective. It's simple, it's fun, it's going to get you grounded and focused in a fraction of the time that you've already spent spinning your wheels. And on these projects in particular, time is money. And all the spinning is keeping you from what you really want, which is move-in day. So here's the good news. You can actually get this program this afternoon. You could sign up and you could be making progress this evening or tomorrow or this weekend. If you're willing to invest the time and do the work, this is single-handedly the best way to get your project launched. So if you're interested in this, I'll have the info in the description and you can just DM me. All right, now let's move on because you might be experiencing a different batch of symptoms. You might feel like you're in the descent, headed towards that moment of truth that I was talking about. And this part of the S, by the way, is all about finding and taming the monsters. You want to find them now because at the next phase, you're going to be spending money and you do not want to uncover them then. So you need to look in all the dark, scary places to find them. And this phase is really all about your ability to uncover the constraints and the variables and to resolve them completely. So in other words, to tame the monsters. So here are some telltale symptoms that you can look for. You might be experiencing a lot of what I call fight or flight instincts. And you and your spouse, you might actually be experiencing different versions of this. One of you might want to fight, and the other one may want to flee. And that can definitely cause some tension in the relationship. Or maybe you just keep pushing out your to-do list because it keeps growing and you're so overwhelmed by the sheer volume of things that need to be done. Or maybe you're starting to realize how much of your time is actually going to be involved in managing this whole thing. And you're thinking, do I really have the time it takes? Does our family, can we afford to do this? And it's during this downhill descent where many people realize how disruptive this is actually going to be to their family members. There's so many balls to juggle to make everyone happy during this time. Or maybe it's financial. Your construction loan is not as much as you thought it was going to be or that you need, or your construction costs are way higher than you anticipated, or maybe it's time. Maybe it's going to take a year longer to get through the permits than you anticipated, or you're going to have to wait to get the architect, designer, or builder that you really wanted to have on your team. Or there's something with your HOA that you won't be able to get around. So you may have even started interviewing professionals like architects, interior designers, and builders at this point. But they just brought up more issues for you to think about. So now you're more confused than ever. And during this phase, it can feel like everywhere you look, it's just more unanswered questions. And this is often when I meet people. You can see you won't be able to move forward until you get those answers you need. And that's a challenging part to meet people, stage to meet people at first, because there is so much to think about and to resolve. So if you feel like you're on the descent or you've reached bottom, this is your moment of truth, as I mentioned. And it's often when the light bulb goes off for people and they realize this dream of home of mine, it's actually a business. And for the next 18 to 60 months, I'm going to be in charge of this business. My life is going to be filled with managing finance and accounting, design, product development, engineering, planning, purchasing, manufacturing, and quality control. And I have no idea what I'm doing. And this is where so many people get completely stuck right at the start of the third part of the S. So you're going to have to make a decision. You're going to have to figure out how to get it together and get the help you need through coaching or hiring a full-time owner's rep for the life of your project. Or you're just going to stay on the struggle bus, hope for the best, and try to figure it out. The good news is that you can get through this. You do have what it takes. You just don't know the how yet. You need proven strategies and methods to get you through it at the high level so you don't get sucked into the vortex of day-to-day management. And I know all this because I've done it so many times. Personally, I follow a 7-step roadmap, and it looks something like this. All right. And in our coaching programs, I'm going to teach you these 7 steps so you can be totally proactive, in control, and stay in the dream build state of flow. This is what that looks like. All right. Everything I teach and share is designed to help you dial down the level of difficulty and dial up or level up your skill set so that you stay in that zone of flow. Because if you can stay here, you're going to enjoy the process. And I know that you went into this with the expectation that it was going to be an incredible, enjoyable journey and a rewarding end. And you're doing this ultimately to improve the quality of life for you and your family. And the good news is that I've mapped all this out for you in this coaching program, and it's called the 7 Secret Strategies. But I don't want them to be secret for very long. I'm getting really, really close to releasing our comprehensive coaching program, but I need your help before I button it up and release it. So here's the offer. I want to speak with 10 of you before I release this. So what I'm doing is I'm going to offer you a complimentary game plan call to discuss your project. And on this call, I'm asking you to bring me your biggest challenge that you currently have, and we're going to work to solve it. And I'm asking one thing in return. I do have a few questions. You don't have to prep for them. They're very easy. It's just going to help me refine a few details of the program before I release it. And I just want your honest input. Even if you hate the idea that I'm doing, I'm sort of like a mini focus group. You could think of it that way. So if you're willing to give me a few answers in exchange for 30 to 45 minutes of time with me to solve your biggest problem, then let's book a call. The link's going to be in the description, and I'm opening this up to our YouTube subscribers as well as our private Facebook members. So if this is something that you're interested in, apply immediately because I only have a short period of time to get this done. I'll have the application link in the description, and you can also DM me the words 7 secrets if you are interested. There is one caveat. This program isn't going to be for everyone. It just isn't. So let me tell you who it is for. If you have a construction budget of 1 million or more, if you're the kind of couple that likes to take accountability for your results and isn't afraid of taking action to get things done, and if you believe that getting education and coaching are important to your success, then you're probably a good fit. And if you meet those requirements, go ahead and fill out the app. If your project doesn't meet those requirements, don't worry. I have something for you also. And it's also free and it's invaluable. It's directly related to our topic, and I'm going to share it at the end. So, getting back to my preview, the truth is that I actually created the system for myself. Actually, I did it to save my marriage from the stress of all those personal dream home builds. My husband and I were a great team professionally. We're winning all kinds of awards and making progress. But on the personal side, each one of these dream home projects was torturous. I'm not kidding. So until I started using these same techniques and strategies I'm going to share, we were really struggling. I created the system to distill it all down for you into the most important things that you need to know so that you can get into that state of flow. And my goal isn't try to teach you everything. There's no way I could. My goal is to really break it down and just boil it down to the most important things so that you can execute on a winning game plan. And here's what a winning game plan looks like. All right, you've got your dream home. So ultimately, when you are finished and you're moved into your dream home, you should feel like the cost to get that dream home was actually, or the result of your dream home was much greater than the cost you paid to get it. And the way I evaluate the cost is on multiple facets. So it's what I call the terms. It's the time you invested. It's the energy that you had to expend to get through it. It's all the resources you had to put in place to make sure it would happen. It's the money you spent on loans, lost opportunity costs on your equity. It's all of that. And hopefully, you didn't pay a huge cost in sanity. So now I'm going to show you how my seven secret strategies relate to that S curve. So let's look at that chart again. All right, here it is. The first part of the S, the going up phase, is what I call visualizing. And the overarching goal during this point in time is clarity. So now let's look at the downward slope. This is what I call the preparing stage. The main theme is taming the monsters and just dealing with them. And a lot of people, I'll be honest with you, this is where I think these two stages, I think, cause the biggest problems for people. A lot of people skip these steps and they just go straight to trying to hire an architect or a builder. And as a side note, this is often the step where I meet clients, and it's challenging because I want to make sure they understand what they're facing. But that often leads to more overwhelm and procrastination on the part of the homeowner as they start to realize the trade-offs they're facing. But back to the topic. Remember I talked about the order of the steps? This is one of those steps that you absolutely cannot skip because the moment of truth tells you one of two things: that you've completely tamed the monsters and you're now ready to move forward, or that you have a monster so big and so out of control that it requires a plan B. And you may even need to bail on your project or completely regroup. Either way, even though it's not what you planned for, and this is going to be a hugely disappointing day, you found out before you started disrupting lives, schedules, and spending money. And this does happen more than you think. I can tell you it's happened in every facet of my real estate career, on the development side, working with clients, and personally. So if you have to change those plans and walk away, this is the time to do it. And I want to clear one thing up. You will have spent money at this point, but not the kind of money you're going to be spending in stage 3 through stage 7. So if you follow the right steps and you've gone through the preparing process the way we teach it, you'll be able to unwind somewhat gracefully. So now let's talk about the third part of the S. And this is where you're going to rise like a phoenix out of the ashes. The next step is selecting. And this is all about deploying what I call the Moneyball method to build your dream home, dream team. And we'll teach you how to identify project success factors that you need to hire for. We're going to teach you how to recruit your star talent and make your project so attractive that you can actually get them, how to fill the gaps, to find your supporting team members, and how to build your winning team overall. So our Moneyball method for hiring is a true game changer, and we teach you exactly how to implement that to draft your team. Next on the process is stage 4. It's designing. Let's see, I think I have slides for this. I do. Look at that. Okay. Designing is what I call perfecting your prototype. Think about it. Your home is one of a kind. It's never been designed and built before, whether you're doing new construction or a renovation. That's what makes these projects so challenging. And we guide you through the methods that we use to make sure that you end up with a home that actually reflects your vision and your program. And we do this with our proprietary 2/3, 1/3 rule. This is a trick that we learned while we were building luxury home subdivisions. The reason production builders can build so quickly is because of this rule. They spend 2/3 of their time perfecting their prototype. That means they dial it all in, down to how many 2x4s they need, so that they can spend 1/3 of their time actually building it. And like I said, that just means that they have to have their plans completely dialed in, all the conflict checks done between your different architects, engineers, designers, etc., so that you have a really buildable plan set. And when you do this before you start construction, it goes much more smoothly. You're not going to be change ordered to death. You may have some surprises. In fact, you will have some surprises along the way. There always are, but it's going to go much more smoothly. Step 5. This is budgeting. And this is what I call a reality check. You're switching your actual preliminary allocation budget to an actual schedule of values. So the only way to do this is to build out that schedule of values, and it's based on approved and permitted plans, a complete construction documentation set, including architectural construction documentation and interior design construction documentation, engineered plans, takeoffs, and material specifications. And when you have that complete, then you'll know what it really costs. All right, now moving on to step 6. This is your actual building. And the focus or the theme of this phase is basically removing the roadblocks. You just want to get out of the way. You want to do everything you can to take off the obstacles and roadblocks from the situation. The happiest homeowners are the ones who master this. And I'm going to show you how we use our techniques for making this effective decisions during construction, assessing quality during construction when you don't know anything about quality, managing the contract and paperwork so you don't end up in a legal battle, and so much more, like the ultimate reward, prepping for move-in day. And step 7 is the last step, and it's kind of an overarching step. It's about managing, and you're going to be managing no matter what. So you're going to be either managing just to the best of your ability and winging it along the way and hoping for the best, or you're going to get coaching and put the team in place that gives you the help you need so that you can get through it easily. Remember the light bulb moment that I talked about earlier, where you realize this is actually a business? Well, that's why you need to really pay attention to this phase. There's just no way around it. So without coaching, you're going to be spending all your free time on this project, cutting into your job, your marriage, and your family time, all that. You'll experience the school of hard knocks because there's no other way to learn. If you're not getting coaching, you're just going to be going through the school of hard knocks. And you're going to make expensive mistakes because you just didn't know what you didn't know. And that's one of the biggest problems. I just had a conversation with a potential client the other day, and he wanted me to look at his architectural bid, and he didn't realize that the bid he got was just for the permit set. Well, there's an entirely second set that comes in after that, after you've got the permits, and it's called the construction documentation phase. So he thought his architecture was one cost, but actually it was quite a bit substantially more, and he wasn't even aware of that. This is the kind of thing that happens to you when you don't know what you don't know. And with coaching, you can compress your learning curve. You can know exactly what to expect along the way and just be better prepared to deal with the incoming missiles that are going to be coming at you no matter what. And you'll be able to enjoy the journey. So the goal of this phase is to invest in yourself so you can experience that outcome. Find and implement the right coaching resources to close your knowledge gap and to help you get through the process. And by now, I hope I have communicated how our program actually ties into this up and down S curve of the journey and how it aligns to support you at each phase. And if there's one takeaway I hope you got from this, it's this. Just take stock of where you are right now on the S curve. Actually, do that at all times. If we don't ever talk again, then just keep this chart in front of you and monitor where you are on this S curve. That one little tip alone is going to help you along the way. In fact, I would love it if you commented below where you are on the S. Did you skip any steps? If you did, it may not be too late to go back and complete them or try to correct some things. And finally, I did promise some free things to you. The first is my quest for 10 people or couples who are ready to jump on a phone call with me. Complimentary. We'll resolve your problem. And in return, I just need you to answer a few questions. It's not a sales call. I want to reiterate that this is not a sales call. It's just purely for me to get information and to be able to help you. And my second offer is for you to get my updated cheat sheet for the 7 secret strategies. It's like a giant to-do list that follows the 7 steps. Yes, it's right there available to any of you for download. This one's been updated. So if you do have an older version, just click the link and get the updated copy. Check the description for all the links and DM me if you have questions about anything. And you know what? That's it for now. I just want to thank you for being here. I totally appreciate you. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.